Hello YouTube, this is a Satsu 5 and I got another knife review for you today. And you're going to have to excuse me, that's the new puppy, which I'm probably going to pick up and hold for a little bit just to see if she'll calm down a little bit. Let me see you. How are you doing, Eddie? Okay. Here's Abby. She is a miniature dachshund. Okay, let's do the review, Abby. Anyways, this is the Kellum Tracker. And before I get started on the review, I want to tell you why I got interested in this knife in the first place. A while back, I want to say it was a few months ago, or I don't know how long ago it was, but I got a tactical knife magazine in the mail. Good magazine, I enjoy reading it. And they had an article on the Luco knife. And this is not a Luco knife, but I'll show you a picture of the Luco knife. See if I can do this one-handed. The one on the top and the one on the very bottom are both Luco knives. The one in the middle is a Puko. A lot of us Westerners, if we see a small Scandinavian knife, we automatically assume, oh, Puko knife. But that's not the case. Pukos are strictly Finnish knives. Although other Scandinavian countries have their type of bushcraft knife, the Puko is Finnish. Now, if you want a knife that represents all of the Scandinavian countries, Finland, Norway, and Sweden, there was a group of people called the Sami people. What's that? What? Okay. The Sami people inhabit both Finland, Norway, and Sweden. And they have a knife called the Luco knife. And now with the Puko, or the small Mora Sweden knives, or small bushcraft knives, or for bushcraft, the Luco knife would be the Scandinavian equivalent of a survival knife. Something that you can use to chop down small trees, split wood, butcher animals, big animals. And that's what the Luco knife is. Right here is a Scandinavian survival knife. And I enjoyed the article so much, I thought to myself, I wouldn't mind having one of those. So I started looking on the knife websites I normally shop from. And I found only one version of it on knifeworks.com, but in the process of looking for it on knifeworks.com, where I normally shop at, I found this company called Kellum. And Kellum has a whole Wolfpack series, hence the name Wolfpack on the bottom. This is the Wolfpack Tracker. They also have the Wolfpack Prowler, or Kellum Prowler, and they have the Kellum Slasher. And the Prowler is like a 2.8-inch blade, and the Slasher is a 7-inch blade, the largest of the series. And the Tracker, which is the version I got, is a 5 5/8 inch blade knife. And Kellum also has their Puko, and they have another Scandinavian knife called the Wolverine. But I thought I'd just let you know about that. If you're interested in looking at the Sami people knife, look it up. It's a very cool knife. In fact, the Norway military army, I can't remember which branch, but they have a Luco knife that they use for their survival snow training, and that's this bottom one right here. It has the folding guard on the bottom. Not a very tactical knife as far as its defensive capabilities, but very practical in that harsh environment. So without further ado, I'm going to set you down for just a second, Abby. Let's unsheath the knife. Like I said, this is the Kellum Tracker. It's a carbon steel blade. It has a Coley Bulch handle, which is very comfortable to carry. I mean, not carry, but hold. And I love the color. They stained it. I don't know what kind of stain they used, but it looks awesome. And I carried this recently on my 2013 dive trip. And yes, I finally got my dive certification. So next year, me and my friend are planning a spearfishing trip. Anyways, I was testing the Saga buoy and this knife on that trip. And I used the Saga buoy for mostly draw cutting, using it as a draw knife, and it failed miserably. Not because it's a bad knife, but it's just the wrong knife for the job. And I'll talk about that in the review later. But when we got to our spearfishing hole that we just started visiting the past 2 or 3 trips, it's probably about 3 trips we started visiting this spearfishing hole. It's not actually a spearfishing hole, but it's just a good place to shoot garl. My friend likes to go over there and practice spearfishing there because it's shallow enough. You don't need oxygen. You can free dive, but yet it's still pretty deep. I would say at some places about 20 feet deep. What? What do you want? Okay. When we got there, after we got finished spearfishing, I decided to test this knife out. And I used it as a draw knife on dead wood. It wasn't pine knot, but it was dead wood. I cut off some branches with some green wood and carved a little green wood, sharpened it up as a tent stake, feather sticks. And I did the same thing with dry wood, and it performed marvelously for that job. It was awesome. Of course, sharpening up a tent stake is a great feat, but it's very comfortable to use. This knife was just razor sharp out of the box, as you've seen in my past video on this, doing the phone book Z cut. And you also saw in my video that I accidentally hit it up against rock, hit the edge up against rock, and it did do a little microchip. Not enough to ruin the knife, but I still didn't like it. But hey, you live, you learn, and you don't try to strike a ferrocerium rod near rock. So that's the lesson learned. Like I said, I used it as a draw knife. And after we got finished camping there, we ate. We didn't spend the night there. We just we went there to spearfish and to eat, to start a fire and to eat. And then we're hitting all these other campsites. We're in a different place every night. The longest time we spent at one campsite, which was at the dive site, was 2 nights. The whole time we were hitting other campsites. And we found this one campsite that we got to when, I don't know what time it was. It was dark outside. It was in the middle of the night, and we were desperately searching for a place to hang up our hammocks. And we found a place, and we were hungry, so we had to start a fire. And also to help keep the bugs away, we wanted a fire as well. But this place had been recently camped at, and there was pretty much no firewood on the ground. Firewood was very hard to come by. We had to walk a good distance to find firewood. I ended up chopping down some trees with this knife. I know the thin Scandinavian grind isn't the most robust grind in the world. Its main purpose is to cut, not necessarily to chop. But I'm here to tell you, in a pinch, this knife chopped very, very well for the style of knife that it is. It's not a Lauku, it's not a survival knife, it's not that thick. It has a thin Scandinavian grind, and I chopped with it. And the more when I first got it, I kind of babied it a little bit, and I was like, okay, I'm just gonna, you know, ease this into walk. But in the middle of the night, in a camping scenario, it wasn't a survival scenario, but just camping, and you want to get a fire started to cook food, keep bugs away. You get to this point where you just go, I don't give a damn. And you just start using the tools as they intended to be used, as a tool. You know, I've seen people use screwdrivers and hammers to pry stuff. You know, you just get to the point where you just don't care. And I still cared about the knife, but it came to the point where I needed to get the job done, and this was the only tool on me at the time. So I used it, and I was very happy with it. I mean, we really abused this knife. Chopping through wood about, I'd say, that big around, which isn't a lot, you know, with a chopping knife or an axe or a machete, but with this knife, it was a pretty good task to take, and I was very happy with its performance. And like I said, I carved with this handle, and it was very comfortable. That's about it on the blade itself. Like I said, I'm very happy with it. One thing I did realize, the spine of the blade is not quite sharp enough to take considerable sparks off a ferrocerium rod. You can get a few sparks off a ferrocerium rod, but you can't get that shower of molten metal that you really want with a ferrocerium rod with this knife. So sometime I'm probably going to try getting a belt sandal and just trying to grind me a sharp edge on the spine of the knife to improve it in that area. Let's look at the sheath. There's Kellum's logo, Wolfpack, and as a standard Scandinavian sheath, it has a plastic insert in it to keep its shape, and the only thing I really don't like about it is the belt loop. It's, you know, it dangles. It's a dangle. I'd prefer more, I guess you could say, robust belt loop. Don't get me wrong, it works, but it's just not my favorite belt loop. Overall, I'm really happy with this knife. As a bushcraft type knife, a large bushcraft knife, I've been really debating with myself whether or not if I should get the Tops Bob knife, the Brothers of Bushcraft, because I'm so happy with this knife, and it's like, can this knife, can the Bob knife do something that this knife can't? And as far as I know, the Tops knife is going to be a much more robust knife, but I really like the traditional Scandinavian grind that this knife has. The Bob knife has a modified Scandi grind, and I really like and it's to improve the durability of the edge. You know, don't get me wrong, it's a good ideal, but I just like the traditional Scandinavian grind because it's very easy for me to sharpen. My brother, he is a master of the edge, and he can sharpen and reprofile knives, you know, in his sleep, but I don't have that skill set yet. And to me, this, you know, it's like, where's the angle? Boom, there's the angle. It's just a single bevel. So I hope you enjoyed this review. If I had to rate this knife on a scale of 1 to 10, I'd probably give it a 7.5 or 8. Like I said, the spine doesn't strike ferrocerium rods very well. But as a bushcraft knife, a knife that you're probably going to be carving with and not necessarily chopping with, it's a very good knife. Although if you're stuck in the middle of nowhere, this will work. I'm the Satsu 5, and I hope you have a great day, and I'm out.